Hello everyone and welcome to the Entrepreneur's Journey. I'm Andy Brine and today I'm here with Stacey Hall. Today we're going to be talking about her journey and story. The title of our show today is From Chi to Be, and that's achieving your ultimate be all and end all. And I'm really excited to be talking with Stacey today to find out more about her journey and story and what's led her to where she is today. So really excited to jump in. Before we get into your actual story itself, I always like to ask, who are you today and what do you do at the moment for work?
And so you're asking me, who am I? What do I do? All right. Well, who I am is somebody who is very committed to making God smile every day by helping uplift others. And what I do is I support teams in being able to attract more perfect team members and retain those team members together around a common mission in a way that's filled with velocity, ease, and joy.
Excellent. No, I love it. So if we look at your journey and story that's led you to who you are today and what you do, we go back to the beginning of time. You could say the start of your journey. It's all about the hero's journey, as we say. And I'd like to find out if there was a moment in time where you weren't entirely happy with your life, and this just started your journey into seeking the fulfillment and happiness of where you are now.
I would say that there was a whole lifetime when I was not happy. That's the truth of it. There wasn't one significant moment where I was unhappy. It was a lifetime of feeling that I wasn't allowed to be myself, that I didn't fit in, that I didn't understand how the world worked, how I just attempted to be the best person I could be. And the people I was surrounded by didn't get it. And somehow I was always out of step. And what I would say is what shifted was finally being so convinced that I really wasn't part of what everybody else was a part of, that it wound up having an effect on my physical body. And I wound up in bed for 2 years and 3 months with severe adrenal fatigue and depression, and relinquished the shares of my company that had grown to be quite well known throughout the world as a result of my first book. And I'm happy to share more about that, but that's exactly what happened to me. And it was that experience of choosing to not leave the world. Like I could have very easily. And one particular day, I decided I wasn't going to give up without a fight. And that fight is what brought me back to myself finally. And that fight occurred. I'm 58 today. And well, that's not my birthday, but I'm 58. And this occurred 11 years ago. So it wasn't until my 40s.
Wow. So what was that shifting point in your life that said, look, I need to make that shift. I need to make that change, and it needs to happen now, sort of thing?
Well, I for the 2 years and 3 months, once I finally got to a point, I mean, I was miserable for a long period of time. My physical health had been bad for more than 10 years up until that point. And I want everybody to know I don't drink, I don't smoke, I never did. So there wasn't a whole lot of reason why my physical health was so out of it. I mean, genes being something, there's that. Came from a long line on both sides of people who weren't very healthy. But there was nothing to explain it other than my emotions. And we all know that emotions actually manifest in the physical body. So for 2 years and 3 months, I consulted doctors and homeopathic doctors and naturopathic doctors and chiropractic doctors and energy healers and Reiki healers, and nothing really ever got better. I was married. I had 2 dogs, and I was in bed 90% of every day. And one day, laying there, I just said to God, and I didn't say it very softly, I said it quite loudly. Here's the deal. If you either take me, because this is slow suffering, not being able to be a wife to my husband, take the dogs for a walk, not being able to function, having to give up my company because I couldn't do it. I don't know what I've done that is so horribly terrible that I deserve to be punished this way. And I said, if you either take me right now or you show me how to get better, because there has to be something I can do. If the body's supposed to be able to heal itself, there must be something I'm missing here. And I actually did hear a soft little voice that said, keep watching, we'll show you. And it didn't come from me, because that wasn't the space I was in. And I'm just going to acknowledge to everybody, when you see me, my nose, I do have allergies that are still left over from that time, a little weakness in my respiratory system. Yeah. So today is one of those days. And I just let everybody know that it doesn't slow me down anymore. If this is the last bit that's still there, and I'm working in a variety of ways to strengthen that part of me. Yeah. But I did. I started receiving guidance. And what I said as I started to receive it is, I'm going to start writing this down now, God. And if these things work, like, I'll do them. And if they work, I will then share them with other people to help them heal their hearts and build up their strength as well. And Andy, that's what happened. I wrote them down. They turned into my second book, which is a #1 bestseller, Chi to Be, Achieving Your Ultimate Be All. And I'm here with you today. So that's the moment.
Fantastic, fantastic. And if I was to ask you then, we all have those mentors, those people that give us the inspiration. And I asked you that when we spoke initially. Who would you say was your inspiration through that time?
Well, I'm #1. I have to give Ellen DeGeneres kudos, because one of the things I learned along the way was that laughter's the other side of anger. Yeah. And I knew that I had a lot of anger about things that had happened. So every day at 3:00, whether I was in bed or out of bed, I turned on the Ellen Show to laugh, because she's always uplifting. Her humor is never negative. And so I'll give her the first kudos. Yeah. The second, I would say, was probably Wayne Dyer, for all of his teachings that he taught me before that point. On how to be more attractive, and remembering those and holding on to those. I mean, of course, God, Christ, many of the religious teachers out there that I held on to. And that would be what I would say. Brian Tracy comes up again as somebody who was there, but probably the most amount of appreciation goes to my husband and my close friends at the time, who kept reminding me that I was more than what I was dealing with at the time.
Excellent. And if we look at your challenges, your road of trials, and we look at what you learned throughout that time, and your 7 steps from Chi to Be, what were some of the biggest challenges you learned to get through some of those moments?
Well, the first was, what did I want to choose to be accountable for? And what that means is, it's a huge shift from thinking that accountability means that I was supposed to be something for other people, which is what I had been taught all my life. Yeah. And I believe so many of us are too. When we hear that word, we bristle, because it was taught to us as kids, can I count on you for this? Can I count on you for that? And so the first thing is, I had to figure out what I wanted to count on myself for. Did I first count on myself to get out of bed and start living again? Yeah. Did I count on myself then to be another best-selling author? And I can tell you that was the furthest thing from my thoughts at the time. My first was to figure out how the human body works, and how I wound up doing to myself what I did without doing it through the traditional means of alcohol and eating bad. And I didn't do any of those things. So why was I where I'm at? And so accountability is first and foremost the way to go, and learning what I wanted to count on myself for. So that's actually number 11 in the book, because I learned that if I put it as #1, people would look at it, close the book, and never read the rest of it. So I'll start there with the personal accountability. Yeah.
Great to see you, Soul Broadcasting. Thanks for joining us as well. So it's interesting, like, just thinking about that, and thinking like you didn't have alcohol, you didn't have obviously drugs or anything like that, you didn't smoke, and yet your body was breaking down, so you had to learn to become accountable and learn how to bring that health back to you in a natural way.
And do it from an emotional standpoint, not from a physical standpoint. That's how I knew it wasn't on the physical level.
Yeah. So what are the other challenges that you faced, and what are the other learnings that you got from it that you now pass on to others?
Well, I'm going to tell you that not being able to make decisions was a big challenge. Always being the kind of person, and by the way, Soul Broadcast asked you if you missed anything. Yes, you missed the fact that I was in bed for 2 years and 3 months, and I'm still developing my wellness, which is why I've got some allergies. But back to Andy's question of, is being able to make decisions and to have faith in those decisions.
Yeah.
Because I could always say I'm the kind of person who can see both sides or 50 sides of a situation, which meant that my side actually never got addressed or discussed. I would just go with the flow to the best of my ability. And if it didn't really feel good to me, I didn't feel like I ever had a say. So when life can bring something to me, and it's a matter of, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Yeah. Being able to then have a focal point to be able to make that judgment. And so the focal point is what I call a be-all goal. And at the time, my be-all goal was just to get out of bed and start living again. So being focused on that, when an opportunity would come my way, then being able to decide, am I going to do this because it moves me closer towards my be-all, or am I going to choose not to do it because it moves me further away? And I can give you lots of experiences that are everyday experiences that people go through, but that was a second experience. And learning what I call the solution process, which is a set of 5 questions that I received inspiration on how to make those choices every time.
Okay. Can we go through some of those questions?
I will go through all of them because it's a process. So, Andy, excellent. I'm going to ask you, well, I'll tell you what, let me not put you on the spot first. I'll tell you an actual experience for me, and it'll show you. And then if you want me to take you through it, I'm happy to. Or if someone wants to jump in the seat and they let me take them through it, we can do that too.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So, during that period of time when I could barely get out of bed for more than 10% of the day, and my wellness was greatly compromised, somebody very close to me died. She was as close to me as an aunt would be, and I grew up with her. And she had lived in another city, and it was sudden, and it didn't add to my wonderful feelings of emotion. I was very sad, and I had felt like it would be important for me to go to the funeral. Now, that said, as I said, I could barely be out of bed for an hour. So how was I going to get the energy to go? And you might think then that that was a pretty easy decision, but it wasn't, because my heart was full. So these are the questions that I asked myself. So my be-all at the time was to get well.
Yeah.
So I asked myself, coming from fear, why would I choose to not go to the funeral? Coming from fear. And my fear that came up was that I would make myself sicker and put myself behind. Okay. Then I said, coming from love, why would I choose to not go to the funeral?
Yeah.
And at first I was like, well, out of love, I would go. But then I realized that if anything happened to me while I was there, I'd be taking attention away from her funeral. People would have to attend to me. Yeah. And so I said the most loving thing I could do out of love to not go to the funeral is to stay home and be well.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I went to, coming from fear, why would I go to the funeral?
Yeah.
And the reason I would go to the funeral, excuse me. That's okay, I think this is bringing up the emotion as well. Didn't expect that. Yeah. This is not the prettiest part of me right now, but it's
it's fun.
Okay. So the reason I would go, or I would go out of fear, is that people would think I didn't love her. Mm-hmm. She had been so good to me. How could I not show up for her funeral? And then I said, coming for love, why would I go to her funeral?
Yeah.
And it would just be because I loved her. And I listened to my body and I said, okay, what's the strongest feeling in my body of all those answers? And the strongest was out of fear going that people would think I didn't love her. And I looked at that and I said, okay, so if I go, is it going to move me closer to getting well? And I said, no.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, body. It's more important to me that I do not go, even though I'm being drawn to be by concern. So I said, so what can I do to handle that fear? And what came up was I could call her son.
Yeah.
And I could say to her son everything that I was feeling. Please forgive me. We're at an office and we're about to get a doorbell ring and my dog is with me. So I may actually have a dog barking too.
That's
so
okay.
authentic. And anyway, so with that said, I called her son and I said, here's what's going on with me. I love you. I think it would be best for me to stay home and not put myself in a position where you guys would have to take care of me. He said, Stacy, everything you did through your life, let her know and the rest of us that you loved her. All she would want you to do is stay home and take care of yourself. Please do that in honor of her. That was it. Stayed home, said a prayer at the time she was being married, and proceeded to do well. So I hope that that helps give an idea of how I met a challenge that really broke my heart and was conflicting. I was just as committed to being well as I was to showing love for her.
No, I think that's fantastic. And just looking at that paradigm, I always often think about that paradigm of love or fear. You know, I think it's an interesting thing to look at. And I do believe it's completely true. We either choose love or we choose fear, you know, in every single circumstance and situation. Whether it's the ones we love and we fear the love, or whether it's even the fear of, you know, accepting who we are, you know, the fear of who we are at a deeper level. So thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. So
you're very welcome. And we do have folks here. So I'm curious, would anyone like to jump in the seat or have a choice or decision that you just want to message me, and I can walk you through those questions so you can get an answer, because that process will work every single time. It will bring you to confidence and security and peace every single time.
Excellent. Well, what we'll do is we'll go through the rest of your story, and then we'll jump in, get people to jump in, and we'll do the quality questions with them as well. So that'll be very cool. So after you went through some of these experiences, was there a point or a moment within your life where everything shifted as you learned these lessons?
Progressively. What started happening is I started to build strength. And then I learned, so there's a total of 11, what I call now energy surges that I started to learn over the course of a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell everybody here that one of the things that made the biggest difference as I was getting stronger is I was invited to a class on essential oils. You may say, well, why are they not working today? It's like, no, actually they are. They're keeping things under control for me.
Yeah.
But that class on essential oils and learning about the vibration of pure plant oils,
Yeah.
and how they can help lift us, just like prayer can help lift us, just like blessings can help lift us, just like more positive thoughts and affirmations can lift us. I started using the oils and I got stronger. And as I got stronger, I became fascinated by them. And I wanted to learn everything I could about the chemistry of essential oils. And I became, I took classes in chemistry. I became a certified aromatherapy coach. I went on to become a certified natural therapies coach. I went on to become a licensed spiritual healing coach. Yeah. And that's what happened. But did it happen overnight? It was one step in front of another step in front, and everything that worked combined with what's in my book. So what I would say is I now know how to keep my chi moving. My emotions don't stop me, even though I'm still working on building up my immune system. Yeah. And, you know, here in Vegas, the reason this is up is we've got 50-mile-an-hour winds going on right now, and I live in the desert. So there's a lot of sand being blown all through. And
I can only imagine, actually.
Doing the best I can.
Yeah. So after you've how did that feel like? How did that feel after you'd finally, you went through a lot of those learning, went through a lot of those shifts? How did that feel once you got through the other side?
It still feels every minute of every day, waking up in the morning and being excited that it's another day rather than dreading that it's another day. That's how I feel. I feel grateful. I feel humbled. I feel blessed to be able to have gone through. I kept my promise to God. I would write it down and share it with others. Every day I receive an acknowledgement from somebody of at least one of my energy surges and how they help them, or maybe they've done my attraction process and attracted something to them that they never thought could, or they've done the attraction process and their husband started to shift before their eyes and their relationship has improved. And that's how I feel every moment of every day. And when I lay my head down on the pillow at night, I express appreciation to God and to myself for having done what I kept my promise to do and for staying accountable to myself.
Excellent. That's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing how those moments of trauma, moments of, all the bad experiences all come together to create our bliss, and the bliss that you have today. And I'd imagine you wouldn't have changed what happened to you for the world, because it's allowed you to truly appreciate things. Would that be right?
Honestly, I'm going to tell you,
that's okay.
If I hadn't had to go through it, I wouldn't have gone through it. On the other hand, I mean, it's not fun to be sitting here wiping my nose in front of all of you, and to still have to explain that, I'm a natural therapies coach and I'm still working on myself. On the other hand, do I have compassion that I didn't have beforehand? You betcha I do.
Yeah.
Do I understand that we're all dealing with some challenges one way or another? You betcha I do. Yeah. So from those things, I can tell you I appreciate the experience. But I also know I didn't have to get myself to that point. And so that's what I live my life doing, is helping people before they get to that point. Because once you're here, it's not a whole lot of fun. It requires a lot more energy to keep yourself uplifted every day.
Yeah. If I was to ask you now, then I always go back to the question that I asked you at the beginning, which is how would you describe yourself as today? Who would you describe yourself as, and what do you do now?
The answer's the same. I'm blessed, I am appreciative, and I'm somebody who supports people in being able to move through their challenges and participate in teams.
Yeah.
To have fabulously wonderful relationships. Because if I learned anything, it's that I was not really appreciating the support of the people around me, because I was more focused on the people who were tearing me down than the people who were lifting me up. And that is the truth.
Yeah. So I know you've answered this throughout your whole talk today, and it's why do you do what you do after going through all those challenges? What lights you up?
Yeah, well, if I didn't do it, then it was all for nothing. I actually am a fitness instructor too, and this is all part of that natural therapies coaching. And so some of you may be familiar with the NIA technique, NIA technique. Mm-hmm. And I always say it's funny, when I'm not teaching classes and I'm just doing the videos, I have the ability to do it on my own. Yeah. I don't do it on my own. I'm confessing right now. I say I'm going to, and then there's other things that take my attention. Yeah. So but if I know that I'm preparing for a class, I'll do it. And I've looked at that. Why is that? It's because for me, I enjoy now being with other people who lift me up. I enjoy thinking about preparing a class and sharing Nia with other people. Just like when I'm creating classes for essential oils, I think about, I don't want to just use them for myself. I enjoy learning from other people. When I think about doing my energy surges, I do them for myself. They've become part of my nature now, but it's always more fun for me to talk about them with you and with the people who are here listening. And so I'd love it if anybody wanted to jump in the seat or ask a question. That's more fun to me than just talking about me.
Definitely. Well, it's your journey and story today. If you could pass on a message to people that are going through their own fight and they're going through their own struggles, what would that be?
It would be to get into your heart to the best of your ability, because for some people, they've been so shut out of it by experiences. So I'm going to say the very first thing is always take 3 deep breaths. Mm-hmm. And then ask yourself, I always say, tell the truth to yourself. If you're not going to tell it to anybody else, that's okay, but tell it to yourself. Do you really want to do what you're doing right now, or what you're thinking about doing? I had a client right before you. She came to me for coaching about her financial goals, and we've had conversations about them. And instead of moving forward, she's getting further and further away from them because she's not taking the actions. Yeah. And I said to her, okay, now's the time to tell the truth based on actions or non-action.
Yeah.
Do you really count on yourself to achieve those goals? It doesn't matter to me, but it really matters to you. Yeah. Because if you're doing it because you think that's what someone else wants you to do, but you don't want to,
yeah,
you're just going to get more and more miserable. So first, figure out what you really count on yourself for. Release the shoulds. I did a TEDx talk on how to release the shoulds.
Yeah.
And
it's great talking. I love that talk.
Right. Oh, thank you, Andy. That's fabulous. Thank you. And then allow yourself the courage to imagine what it would be like if you just stopped doing what you really don't want to do. Mm-hmm. What would you replace it with? Yeah. That's the beginning of the journey. What would you replace it with if you could?
Yeah. Excellent. It's an interesting thing, accountability, isn't it? Because we can't really put accountability on others like we want to do it for other people. Because unless we truly want to do it for ourselves, we're truly accountable to ourselves, then we truly can't. In some ways, I don't believe we can really make it happen in some ways. Because it really begins inside of ourselves, expresses outwardly,
I say it's virtually impossible to hold somebody accountable who doesn't want to be accountable to what you want to hold them accountable to. It's a riddle, Definitely. But it's the truth. If they don't want to do it, there is nothing you can do. You can bribe, you can pay. If they don't want to do it, they'll take your bribes. They're still not going to do it.
Definitely. So where can we find out more about yourself and your work?
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to chat it here in the box.
Uh-huh. And it goes on a podcast as well. So, yeah.
Yes. Well, on the Blabcast on Tuesdays, if you just go through my Twitter account at Attraction Zone, you'll always know about our upcoming Blabs. Every Tuesday, I share tips about how to co-create more successful teams. Whether your team is your husband or your wife or your significant other, whether your team is an MLM network marketing team, whether your team is a group of coworkers, whether you're all coming together for a cause. If you've got a codependent team, it's not going to go very far. And most teams function as in codependent ways because they're a group of individuals who are codependent. So there are ways, very easy ways to shift using the energy surges from being a codependent team to an interdependent team. And I would love for people to join me for these on Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And you'll meet the rest of my team, the Chi2B team. And at my website, Chi2B, which means the energy to be, you'll get free attraction tips. There's videos there. There's freebie audio coaching programs. Play around on the website. We're in the process of upgrading it. And it may take a while because there's already a lot of information there that is going to have to get transferred to another place that looks prettier. But if you don't mind that it doesn't look great and pretty, you like the high quality content, you'll love that website.
Definitely. It's all about the high quality content. The pretty looking websites come after, don't they? So.
Well, we've been out there for quite a while. And so the website that was great, 8 years ago, not keeping with the look of today. The value of the information is still there. So
definitely. Well, thank you for joining me on the show and sharing your journey and your story. It's been a real pleasure and privilege to have you on. For those of you who want to find out more about entrepreneurial stories and from coaches, therapists and consultants from around the world, tune in live every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time or UK time. And we do look forward to seeing you there. But we are not yet finished. It's now time to open the seat. The seat is already open, but if you want to come join us and ask your questions to Stacey, we will also go through those questions that she went through earlier on the show. So feel free to jump in, join the conversation, and we'd look forward to having you with us as well.
And while we're waiting for that, Andy, do you have any decision or choice that's facing you that I can support you with?
It's an interesting one. I suppose I've got a few things going through my mind. Yeah, I mean, I'm refocusing on a few things within my business, like in terms of which direction I should go on different projects. But I don't think it's good for the live show. But we can go through some quality questions. Should we go through those quality questions for myself, or?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Do you have a choice or decision that you're thinking about making, and I'll take you through it.
Okay, let me think. On the spot here now. That's good. Okay, let me think. Okay, it's about travel at the moment then.
Okay, good. I love that.
So the dilemma is about travel and should I travel at the moment or within the very near future, and not put my business on hold, but work as I travel, or should I just work at home and do the business for a longer period until I get going on traveling?
Beautiful. Okay, so the place we always begin is, what's the greatest goal you intend to achieve before you leave the earth?
Mm-hmm. What's the greatest goal for me?
Yeah, greatest goal you intend to achieve before you leave the earth.
I mean, for me, it's to love and support others as much as I can possibly do, and support others in many different ways. And at the moment, that's supporting people by helping them on their journey and path through their own hero's journey, so they can be much more fulfilled in what they do.
Beautiful. Okay, so hold that in your mind's eye.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from fear, why then would you not choose to travel right now?
Because there's so much that I want to focus on in my business, and I don't want to lose focus on that at this moment in time.
Okay. Any other reasons coming from fear you would choose not to travel right now?
Maybe it's that I won't, because I want it to be an extended travel, that I won't have the money to support that process at the time.
Okay.
That long extended travel. So.
Got it. Okay. Any other fears that would keep you from traveling right now?
Not really. I wouldn't say.
Okay. Coming from love, why would you choose not to travel right now?
It's an interesting one as well, isn't it? These are good quality questions, aren't they? Sort of like quantum linguistics and NLP, aren't they? In a way. So coming from love, why wouldn't I travel now, right?
Yeah. Why would you choose not to? And there might not be an answer. There doesn't have to be an answer to everyone.
That's an interesting one. I don't know what I would answer for that one.
Okay. No answer. Let's go on. Okay. Coming from fear, why would you choose to travel right now?
Coming from fear, why would I? Yeah. So these are really trigger different thoughts in your mind, don't they? Coming from fear, why wouldn't I travel?
No, why would I travel?
Because then I could leave a lot of stuff behind at the moment.
Okay. So you have a fear of dealing with the things that are in front of you, so that's why you would travel? That's the fear?
Yeah, I guess in some ways. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, coming from love, why would you choose to travel at this time?
Well, to meet some incredible people, to share my work with more people around the world, and to give back in many different ways, in a much bigger way.
Okay. Of all the answers you gave to the 4 questions, which one do you think felt the strongest in your body? Not the best, excuse me, not the best, not the worst, just the strongest energy when you said it.
I'd say definitely the last one, without a doubt. I could feel the energy shift,
Okay, that was very clear to all of us who are watching too. We could see the energy shift for you. And so, Andy, your body knows that the most important thing for you to do right now towards your goal is to travel. So with that choice, now you can start making a series of choices for how long, where are you going to go, when are you going to do it, what has to be managed in the meantime. That's where your energy is leading. And so you got yourself out of your head and into your energy body. Your energy body always knows what's going to lift you up. And that's, we've always heard positive thinking thoughts, but this is why affirmations don't work. If people don't bring them into their body and they're only doing them in their mind, it means nothing. When we say an affirmation, we actually have to feel it. We have to listen to, did our body change at all? Yeah. Did the energy go down? Did the energy go up? If the energy went up, then it's an affirmation that works for us. But if the energy went down, it means that there's something within us that can't resonate with that affirmation. Until we look at it, there's no point saying it. And so this is the same thing, coming from love, coming from fear. You had answers for 3 out of the 4 questions. You can justify any answer, but the one that really felt right in your body, good in your body, was that last one.
Definitely. No, it's very an interesting thing because it's all about the energy behind what you're saying as well. You feel that energy and it resonates with you. And I completely agree with the affirmations. You really got to feel those affirmations if they're going to work for you, and connect with them. So
Kathy's still here. I'm just curious if that opens anything up for her. If she has any questions, Kathy, you can chat it in the message box. And and how are you feeling now, Andy, that you're going to be traveling?
No, I mean, it does feel good. I mean, I've got a lot of choices and opportunities open for travel at the moment. It's just deciding what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go, and how I'm going to go about doing it in the best way that serves me and others, which is
beautiful.
Which is good.
I'm thrilled. Yay.
But again, thank you very much for being on the show. Are there any last thoughts that you wanted to share?
Yes, I would love to. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. There's another website that I'd like to put down. I'm going to message it here again. It's called beanattractionmaster.com. beanattractionmaster.com. And that's where I teach people the 4-step process that I call the strategic attraction planning process that I've been teaching for close to 20 years. I was teaching it before I got ill. And so some of you might go, well, then why didn't it work? No, actually it worked so well. I attracted so much of what I desired. I attracted Brian Tracy and Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen and every major teacher that you can imagine. I attracted to love my first book. And I attracted people to work with to handle all of the information that was coming in. Here's what the problem was. I wasn't prepared for success. Emotionally and mentally, my mindset was not prepared for me to work inside a team. I had been taught to withdraw in, to depend only on myself, that, I couldn't trust other people. And so I attracted people to me that literally I could not trust. They proved to me could not trust.
Yeah.
And that is actually, so to bring this all full circle, that's how I wound up in bed, because my belief systems were right in front of my face. And I had to, there was no more optimism. It's just, this is what I keep attracting. And so I had to take a whole breakaway. God gave me the opportunity to lay down, shut up, look up, and think about, I said I wanted this, then why am I attracting this? And why? Because I was more focused on this than I was on this. And so that was the shift. that I made, and it's why the law of attraction does not work for most people. And if you do the 4-step strategic attraction planning process, and then you get my book, Chi to Be, that gives you all the rest of it that I learned, how to continue to keep moving forward, then your life will shift and change. And it won't matter that you have a few sniffles or you've got any other physical symptoms that may have gotten created from the past. You'll still move forward and you'll still be attractive.
Excellent. And I'd love to find out more, and I look forward to your show. I will try and join you on Tuesday. I don't know whether I'm busy at that time, but I would love to join you. If not, I'll make some time to join you in the coming weeks as well.
And we'll keep a seat open for you, as they say. You know, like the hotel industry, will keep a line on for you. I'll keep a seat open for you, Andy.
Excellent. Thanks very much. And with that, I will say thanks again, and I will see you again soon. And thank you all for tuning in and listening to the show. Bye for now.
The Entrepreneur's Journey. Create your empowering business story. Interviewing successful entrepreneurs from around the world to share their inspiring journey to success. Tune in live every week for your weekly dose of inspiration. Visit www.theentrepreneur'sjourney.tv for previous episodes.